Yesterday we have seen about composition and inheritance, right? We have discussed briefly about the inheritance. Okay, in this session we will discuss about the various types of inheritance. Already we have seen single line inheritance, right? Single level inheritance with our examples yesterday.
Yes.
We will continue with that today, and then we will further see what are the other types of inheritance also. Okay. So what is inheritance? It is the ability of one class to derive the properties and methods from one or more classes also. It can be more classes also. So that is called inheritance, correct?
Yes.
What are the advantages of it? We can use the code without rewriting, correct? Code reusability. Next, suppose if we want to provide more features to the existing class, how can we do? Either we have to go and modify that class, right? Or
Yeah.
we can use the inheritance concept and extend that facility in the derived class, right? So with the help
Right.
of inheritance, we can add a new feature to existing class without changing the existing one, right? So that is the one advantage. Existing class need to touch. It is transitive in nature. What does it mean? Transitive in nature means
Transitive.
we have seen yeah, maybe in childhood A equal to B, B equal to C, then A equal to C, right? So what happens
Okay.
in inheritance? What do I mean by transitive in case of inheritance means? Suppose if my child class has the properties of parent class, if my subclass of a child class also properties of parent class, right? Suppose a class I have derived from A class I have derived B, okay? From B class I have derived C. Then C class also should have the properties of A, correct? Main parent.
Right.
So that is called transitive property, okay? So my subclasses of derived class also has the properties and methods available to the all the subclasses also. So main base class properties are available to all the below subclasses, whatever may be, correct? That is called transitive in nature. Suppose if a child class inherits properties from a parent class, all the subclasses of the child class will also have the access to the properties of properties. Here I mean by attributes and methods, okay? So methods. The parent class by default. Understood this transitive nature property?
Yes.
So Python will allow all these three advantages in case of the inheritance concept. Okay.
Okay.
Now yesterday we have seen single line inheritance, right? So we will not discuss that one. Anyway, you already know, correct? Single level inheritance. Yesterday's examples you understood, right? Regarding the
Yes.
single level and composition, right? So we will not discuss about single level now. Okay. So types of inheritance means
Single, multiple, multi-level.
single level, okay, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, okay, hybrid. Cyclic is also there, but it is not available in Python. Okay. So all these are types of inheritance. Now we will see from multiple onwards, multiple level. Single level we are already seen yesterday. Okay.
Okay.
Single level inheritance. Discussed. Multiple. What is multiple inheritance? Can you guess?
So one parent, two different child.
That will be hierarchical.
Okay.
That will be hierarchical. Multi means reverse. How means?
Okay. Two parent, one child.
Two parent classes. Two or more. Okay, two or more. Not only two. Okay, two or more parent classes and one child class. Or we can say child class is derived from two or more parent classes, right? Suppose there is a person class. This is the init method. First argument parameter is self, right?
Yes.
Person name, person is. Since it is an instance method, we have to, the first argument should be self. Okay, then self dot name equal to person name self dot is person is. is one more instance method, show name, print self dot name. There is one more class, student. It is also a parent class only. Okay, so both person and student are parent class in this example. Student ID equal to student ID. No, the actual child class. We have already told the child class derived from both person comma student. So if there are multiple parents, we have to include in parentheses both the names of the base classes, right?
Yes.
Understood? Person is the first base class and student is the second base class, separated by comma. Suppose if there is in one more class, we can call, right, we can use that one also by separating by comma, student 2, like this we can do. Okay,
Okay.
but there is only one child class. Name comma age comma ID. Can I do like this? I am calling the init method of person class, right? I can use either
Yes.
per or student class name, correct? If I have to use
Right.
name, the first argument should be self. Why I am doing the person class name here instead of super? Because it should know which
Yeah, there are two.
there are two, right? But even we can use it with super also. I will tell you in my next example how we can, if there are two parents, means how we can resolve the issue. Okay, which method
Okay.
call? That is called method resolution order. In the next example, I will cover that one. Okay. Now for now, we use the class name to call the init method. Okay. So it will be give the clarity which method to call and okay. Now I use the student. Here also I have to use self. Resident 1 equal to resident of, suppose is John 25, ID is 102, suppose. Here what is happening, you can tell me. So there are two parent classes, right? Why
Yes.
like this? Okay, C should be small. Okay, there are two parent classes, person and student, right?
Right.
In each class I have different init methods, different attributes. So resident class is inheriting from both person and student, right?
Yes.
Because it is a multiple inheritance. So what are the attributes it can access? Name, age, and student ID. All the three from about two classes it can. So name and age, it is referring person dot init method. It is calling person dot init method to initialize those things. Okay. To initialize ID, it is referring student initial method, right?
Yes.
So all the parameter, all the variables, it is now accessing through individual init methods. Now I have created one resident one object. Okay, I have passed on the, using the constructor, I have passed on the required values. Okay, name, age, and ID. So first, when I call this init method of resident will automatically be called for, correct?
Yes.
Then what will happen? What is the next step after entering that init method? It will see immediately person dot init method. Okay. Then what will happen? That name and age will be transferred to the init method here. So these local variables, these two local variables, it will be updated. Then from that, it will be converted to the persons, not persons, resident class instance variables by using the self dot name and self dot age. Correct?
Yes.
Correct. These two will be updated inside the resident class object as John and 25. Okay, John age 25. Self dot name is John. Second, after completing that, there is one more init method here. So now it accesses that init method of student, and then it will define the student ID value here in this. So student ID will be replaced with 102. Correct? So there is no init method run here. So by using the resident class, are you able to initialize any instance variables? Residence class init method is initializing any variables, instance variables? No, right?
No.
It is using simply init methods of person and student class to initialize its variables, right?
Yes.
So that is called multiple inheritance. Okay. Now we'll see the whether it is able to access those variables and initialize or not. Okay. So it is able to access the name. Okay, name. That means name is being initialized using the person constructor, person init method, and student ID is being also initialized by using the student class init method, right?
Yes.
Here we are specifically asked to call the person init method first. Suppose I can do like this also. Will it have any effect on the output? First I am calling the student init method, right? Here.
Yes.
So will it have any effect on the output?
No.
No, right? So whatever may be the order of this init method calls, the output will not be affected in our example now, because we have used class name. If you have used super method, the output will change based on this location of the super. Okay, in the next
Okay.
example we will see how to resolve. Okay, how to resolve these issues, which super method to be called first, which super method to be called second. Okay, we will get more clarity when we go to that example. So issues with multiple inheritance, now how to resolve. Suppose there is a class here. We are discussing about multiple inheritance. Only this type of problem will occur in multiple inheritance, or if it is a hybrid inheritance. Otherwise, there is a
Okay.
multi-level or single-level inheritance. We have clear-cut super method, right?
Yes.
There is
Only
only
one.
parent case above that one. Okay, so there is no problem in those cases. Only in multiple inheritance we'll have this problem, or hybrid case. Class A, get name, self. There is a class C which is inheriting these properties from A and B, A comma B. Okay, self. because I am using the class name, I have to pass self while calling the init. Not quite. I'm creating an object of class C, right? Small c. Getting a method. Okay. Now it tell me what will be the output printed here. What is the name attribute? What is get name? Get name will return the self dot name, right? There are two get name methods here in class A, class B. Also there are two attributes here, say with same name. Self dot name also is here. Self dot name is also in class A. Okay. What will be the output when I call the get name method on C1 reference, on class C reference object? Okay. There are two methods inside each class with the same name, get name and get name. Two attributes with the same name.
Yeah, I think John.
Hmm?
John.
John. Okay. How it is? Can you tell me?
So the first one, I thought it this way. A dot initialize
First
init method is called first.
So on the creation of object C1, I will call this in automatically. Now Python will call this method automatically, init method, right? Then immediately it will see, it will give a call to A class init method, right?
Right.
In the A class init, what is the name variable?
Self dot name.
Name variable, it is already initialized with John. So in the C1 object, name variable will be initialized with John, right?
Yes.
And age variable will be initialized with 25, right?
Right.
Next, it will come to b dot init method. In the b dot init method, what is the name variable? Richard. And id equal to 1, right? So name will be replaced. John name will be replaced with Richard. So it is the same attribute only, right? Name only, same with same name. So when it is calling the second init method, the name attribute, there will be only one name attribute, right? With the same name means. So it will be replacing the John name with the Richard name in the C1 object, right? It will not replace here in the inside the class. In the C1 object, what are the attributes? First attribute will be name, second attribute will be age, third one will be ID. Even though there is one more name, so it simply replaces John with Richard when it give a call to second init method, b dot init method. So output what we will get name is where it is get name method. Both cases are there. Which get name method it should call? For that, understood, right? What is the issue? First issue is name. Name anyway, we have clearly identified that it is now replaced with Richard finally. Because in the second init method, it will be updated with Richard. Okay, name attribute will be updated with Richard. That is one clarity. So output will be Richard. Okay. Suppose I have changed it self.id. Okay, it is returning with the same names. Class B, it is returning self.id. Here it is returning self.name. Okay, what will be the suppose it will be Richard or 101 in the output. ID in ID it will be in the output. In what method it will call first? Because both
First,
A and B are at the same level, right? Both are parents to C object, right? C1 object C1.
yeah.
So which one it has to prefer to call which method? When I use this C1 dot get name, whether it will call this method and return ID or whether it will call this method and return the name.
Not sure.
Okay, for that it will follow the method resolution order. So what is the parent class we have discussed here? First A, right? Then
A.
we have discussed it with B. So it should be first should call the A class get name method. Okay, it found when it goes to the class A, it will find the get name. Suppose there is no get name here, then it will go and check in the class B, right?
Okay.
If it found in class B, then it will execute that get name. Here in the first case, we have found it here in the A class itself. If we reverse this order, then it will go and check in the B class first.
B first.
Okay, so in that way, it resolves the method order. Okay, that is called method order resolution. Okay, now we will see output. What we will get? We got Richard, right? Because
Right.
it has executed this one. Let us see with this one. B come again. See here output is 101. Even though the method is get name, what we are returning self.id, right? So based on the method resolution order that we have declared at the time of class child class declaration, the output will change based on the sequence of this parent class. Understood, right? So here the output will be Richard. If the parent classes, both parent classes attributes and methods with the same name, we follow the order. Now I will tell you. In the previous example, it is easy, right? Which in init method to be called because we have used the parent class, right? Parent class name. while calling the init method, right? So it is easy for the Python virtual machine to call that method, corresponding call that method. Okay, now we will use a super word, then we will see how Python will resolve the conflicts. Okay, it is also multiple inheritance only, because in that multiple inheritance conditions only we will get these problems, because there is a class here. Super method init. Yep. Second parent class is class B. Otherwise I will remove this method. C1 object creation. Print C1 dot get name. Okay, what I have done here, there are two classes here with an init methods, and each one is referring their super classes. Because what is the super class of A here? By default, any class is the derived class of a object class, right? We have already discussed it. In Python, any class whatever we define, It is a child class of a object class. There will be one object class. From there, everything is linked down. So that will be the base class. Object class will be the base class, root class for all the classes whatever we define. Okay. So
Okay.
super dot init method will refer to that object class. Okay. Here also in second class also, because we have not specifically defined what will be the, suppose if I have done like this, then super will be D class for B. If you have not defined anything, then it will be object class only, right? So
Yes.
in the class C, the parents we are declared as A and B. Okay, it is multiple inheritance, right?
Yes.
So in that also, our init method we are using, instead of parent names, we are using super method. It is a method, so we have to use a parenthesis. Okay, then now created one object C1 of class C. Okay, now printing get name. I am calling the get name method on C1 object. What will be the name I will get on the output? Here both get names are returning name only. Here, unlike previous, in the previous class one is returning ID, right? Because I want to show the difference, I have done that. Now in this place, how the method resolution order will be? What will be the output?
I'm not sure.
No, in the from using the previous session, you tell me. Otherwise, here
That session it was Richard.
this example. On creation of this object, what will it do? It will come to this init method automatically. Class init method automatically, right? Python will call
Right.
init method, right? Then what it will see? Super init method. Then super init method, what is the order of preference?
A.
A.
And
A, what will be the names on here?
John.
John and 25. Okay. So the attributes updated will be John and 25, right?
Yes.
And then what will happen?
It will call the next init method. Next. It will not call.
It will not call that.
Only one.
It will call and update the ID. Okay.
Okay.
Understood? Then because it already name once it is over, it will not touch the name attribute. Okay.
Okay.
The resolution order, what is the name variable here? Name attribute updated will be John. Okay.
John.
So second will be ID. ID attribute is different from the original, right? So ID will be updated here. So ID will be updated means 105 will be updated, right? So what will be the output here in this case? Get name method
John.
John. Here there are two get name methods, right?
Yes.
So what will be the output? Anyway,
It will go to A.
anyway it will go to A only. The attribute
Yes.
will be John only, correct? So
Yes.
we will write like this. MRO, that means methodization of the works from left to right. The super method indicates that what we call on creation of object, I'm seeing the super method. Based on the parent class declaration, it will first check the A class class init method, right? Why? Because we have declared the class with A, right? Then only we have declared
Yes.
in the
B.
numbers, and then so it was on seeing this super method, it will first check the A class init method, right? Then the super in the class A, there is super in class A, right? Check this for init method in its base class. Not found any executes the rest of the code and returns. So the order in which the constructor call is C, A, then B. Is it okay?
Yes.
Suppose Marvel example 1. In our first example, we have clearly defined which constructor to call, okay, using parent class, right? So at that time, there is no problem.
Yes.
There is no problem which one to call first, which one to call second. Suppose no, I don't want to replace multiple inheritance MRO example 1. Example 1. I'll open that, okay. In our first example, if you see, this order is not anyway, it is depends on the this person comma student is now independent, right? Based on this order only, it
Yes.
is done the init. Suppose person is first, means it will call that person init method, or student init method here in this case is first, so it will call the student init method. The order of this person or student in that case, it is not irrelevant, it is irrelevant. So even if I mention as student or comma person while declaring class C, the method resolution order will not change. It is dependent purely on this class names, okay. But in case of this example, I have not used class names while calling the init methods, right? So what it will do, it has to depend entirely on the classic declaration for the method resolution. Okay, in the classic declaration, parent class first parent class is A, so it will always look for the init method in the parent class. Okay, it has found the init method in the parent class, right? In this case, so what it will do, it will call that parent class first, A class first. If it is not there, suppose this is not there, then it will call this B class init method, right? Understood?
Yes.
Then once it found that init method, it will execute the rest of the code and then it will return the output. Okay, as in this case John, right?
Yeah.
In the first example it is Richard because we have called the name, parent class name. We have called the init method using the parent class name, and init method is the in the this B class init method is in the second place. So even though it has called init method of A and updated the name attribute with John, in the second step there is one more name with Richard. So it is updating the name attribute with Richard. In this case, it will simply call this method and then update the name, and then it will simply return back to here. Okay, it will not search for the name attribute anywhere. Now in the getName method also, what is the getName method? There are two getName methods here. GetName method also, it will first search a class. So it has found here.
Yes.
So it will not come down here. It will stop the execution here itself. Okay. Now let us see what will happen now. What happened? Oh, sorry. Init method is a double underscores, right? Init. So here see, the name attribute remained as John only. Understood the difference of first example and second example? This example, when we are using
Yes.
parent name, and also we are using the two constructors in the child class. Suppose here you see, we are calling two init methods. Suppose if I am not called this init method, only one student only it is there. Okay, then whether this name will be changed, renamed as Richard? No, right?
No.
And also I will not get updated the ID also here. It is not calling this init method. Okay, it is calling
Yeah.
only this init method. Student, sorry, here student, right? I have to remove this one. So it is calling the person only, right? So here name will be updated only John, and then his age will be updated in the C1 object, but it is not calling the student class init method, right? So the student ID and student name will not get updated automatically. Okay, those two will be not be updated. Okay, understood, right? So based on
Yes.
our whether we are declaring it super class or whether we are using the parent name, the method resolution order it will depend. In this case, we are declaring the method resolution order, so it will simply follow. But in case of super method, if you are using, it will first check which parent class is declared first. Then based on that, it will call that particular int method or particular instance method to give the output for us. Don't say. You understood this example, right?
Yes.
Any doubt, any clarity required?
No.
Okay. So a method resolution will always work from left to right. Means first class, whatever we are declaring, that one will follow. Okay.
Okay.
Sixth one, right? So now we will see the multi-level inheritance. In the multi-level, when one class inherits another, which in turn is derived from this class, then such type of inheritance is called multi-level. Understood? If suppose there is a one class is there which is inherited from another class. Suppose there is C class, which is inheriting from B class. Okay, that B class which
Okay.
in turn is deriving from A class. Okay, that means there is one order one by one we are following. So such type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. Suppose grandparent is there, then parent and child is there. So parent is derived from grandparent, right? So child is derived from parent. So such type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. In this case, do you have any issues with the method resolution, like such that or problems will be there in multi-level? No, because we have one superclass only for each one.
Right.
No method resolving problems. Suppose in C object we are called there is with A object A class there is one get name method is there. Okay, in B class also which is derived from A there is one get name method. So if C class is calling the get name method, where it will check first? In B or in A, or any method resolution is required?
It's immediate.
It's immediate. Its immediate is B only, right? If it not
Yes.
that get name method is not found in B, then it has to go to A, whether that method is not there or not. Correct? Then only it will go to A. Correct? Otherwise, it will not go to
Yes.
A class. So method resolution will be automatically solved here in this multi-level. No such problems arises. System got stuck. 1 second.
Okay.
multi-level inheritance. Parent is derived class of family. Son in turn is the derived class from parent. So it is the multi-level. Now I am creating son object. Okay. On the son object, using the son object reference, I am calling the show family method, and show family details method. Okay, here there are 3 classes, right? One is the son class, parent class, and family class. The parent is derived from family, and then son is derived from parent. So it is a multi-level inheritance, right? So
Yes.
what are the attributes we have in family class? There are no attributes, right? In the parent
Yes.
class, we have 2 attributes. So father name and the mother name, right? So these 2 attributes will be inherited automatically to son, because he is the parent is the base class, right? So first father name and mother name are available automatically to the son, and they will be initiated with the values when we call the init method. And parent and son has one more attribute, son name. Okay, son class has one more attribute which will be updated when we created the son object. So what are the methods that are available to son? There are no special methods inside this son instance methods, right? So it will go and check for the parent. Parent has also, other than init method, there are no instance methods. But family class has 2 methods, right? Show family and show family details. So these 2 methods are available to both parent and then son also. So when I created a son object, I can call the family class methods using the son reference, right? So that is what I have done here. In this object creation statement, son1, right? I have called the constructor and of this son. Okay, what are the values? It will be updated. Fn equal to Adam, mn equal to Eve, and sn equal to John. So those are the local variables for the init method. And then second step, what I have done, this also we have seen yesterday, super method, or we can say parent
Parent.
or family name, because parent also don't have, sorry, parent have na, parent we can update parent method. Okay, so those 2 variables I have given order to get it updated from the parent class, correct? That's why I used super method, right? Then son name will be updated in the son class itself, son object itself. Okay, so sn will be updated with, son name will be updated with John, right? And then father name will be updated with Adam, and then mother name will be updated with Eve. So when I call these methods using the son reference, these 2 methods will be, first it will check in parent class. There are no methods, no instance methods with that name. So it will go to the base class of the parent. So base class of the parent is family. It is having those 2 methods. So those 2 methods will be executed. But what will happen to the self father name and self dot mother name? These print statements, whether these will be updated?
Yes.
Updated, right? Because it is
Yes.
this method is inside by default, inside like this. Understood? So it is as if it is just like this method is inside the son class, right? So it will be updated with the father name, mother name, and son name, even though that method is not there. It simply inherits that method from family and will update the instant variables father name, mother name, and son name, whatever we have passed on. So now we'll see what mistakes are there. Class. So we have called upon the family class methods to update the print statements like this, to print out the print statements. This is called multi-level inheritance. Here there is no problem of the method resolution order. It simply goes to the main subclass, whatever it is inherited from, If it is not found, it will go to the one more base class which its parent has got inherited from, right?
Yes.
Understood, right? I will tell you one thing. Just you please check that one, and tomorrow you can tell me.
Okay.
Here in our method resolution example, just I'm opening. You can copy and paste in the idle. Okay, Word file you can copy and paste in idle. It will be directly copied, because in this we will not be able to see clearly in the Word file. By default it will be saved. py files are saved in the notepad like format only. Okay, so in the idle, if I open this example, we have seen, right, how the method resolution will happen. Here what will
Right.
happen to the name Richard? Here what are the attributes of class C? What it has inherited? One is name, right?
Name,
A,
age, ID.
ID, right? What will happen to name? What will happen to this name? In the previous first example we have seen, it is updated with Richard, right? Even though initially it is updated with John when calling using the parent class name. Okay, and if you remember, using the parent class name we have in this example, first it is updated with John, second it is updated with Richard, right?
Yes.
Because we have called first student class init method, and then second we have called person class init method, right? So in this example, what will happen to Richard? What will happen to the name attribute of Richard? What will happen to ID? Whether ID
ID
will be updated,
yes.
because we are only using one super method. Whether in the previous example I used two super methods, even though I called with parent name. Understood?
Yes.
I called with parent name and init method I have called. Okay, so a parent dot student dot init method and person dot init method, like that I have called. So by both init methods I have run. But in this case, whether ID will be run, ID will be updated. Okay, anyway, we have resolved that only it will be John only, because our output is John only, correct? So what will happen to this ID? It will be updated, right?
Yes.
Otherwise we will see now only. No problem. 825, no? Okay. What I have to do? I simply have to copy this statement. I thought I will ID, right? I will update this with the get ID. How I have to return two values? I have to use a comma, right?
Comma. Yes.
But at the same time I have to, otherwise I will do one thing. Anyway, we have got the output, right? Otherwise we have to initiate with the two variables. Okay, in the print statement I have to do two print statements. First I have to copy it to variables and then I have to print. Okay, here I have get ID. So when I call C1 get ID method on C1, what will happen to output? Whether I will receive
Yes.
here on creation of this object, this super ID is there. Super method I am calling. What is the method resolution? It will go first. Go
First,
to
A and B.
name and age will be updated, right?
Yes.
Then it will go to B or not?
It will go.
But in the B there is a name, right? But my name is not updating with John.
Because it's already updated. It will see that it's already updated. It will not update.
Okay. Let us see whether ID will be updated here or not. Okay. So I thought that's what the confusion, because if we call this method, self name is Richard now, but why my output is showing John? Because it is updated already. It will not go back to any attribute of name. Okay. That's why my output is John now. Okay. That's why it has not gone to Richard. But my ID is not updated previously, right? Understood?
Yes.
So I'm seeing the ID attribute on this super method. On the method resolution order, if suppose there is C. In the C method, if there is one ID attribute is there, C is already there, no? So okay, I think this is D. It is the order A, D, B, like this. Suppose in the D class, I have ID attribute is there. So what will it do now? The ID attribute also will be updated there and there itself in the D class itself. Okay. Then it will go to B method. Okay, B method, it will see that there is duplicate name and ID are there. So it will not touch those two names. Okay. So what will be the name that will be present in the A class? Here in this case, John. That name will be updated in the name attribute of C object. And then in case of D object, suppose if there is an ID is there, suppose that ID number is 100. So D ID will be updated as 100, and then it will go to B. It sees that both name and ID are already there. So it will simply ignore these two attributes. So what will be the ID value? Here in this case, output A is name is John and D attribute ID is 100. So we will get 100 as an output. We call the ID,
yes,
right? So it will be resolving the conflicts in this way if we use the super. Otherwise, if we use the parent class names, it will simply go to the instead, irrespective of this order, it will not check for this order. It is not required also, because we are using the parent class super method to init. So it will go as per the order of the declaration of init methods. Suppose in this example, first it will go to the student init method, then it will go to the person init method. If it sees person init method, there is one name attribute or duplicate name attribute. It will update the duplicate name with the new Richard name. I am opening wrong example again. This one I think. Here only Richard and John are there, no? Suppose here I'm first time calling a.init method. Name will be updated here. It is not a method resolution, okay? You see, it is a method. It is a variable initialization, not the method resolution, right? That's why even
yes,
if it has first updated the name John, it is again replaced with John because we have particularly called the binit method again. But in case of super method, it will follow the method resolution order here. Method resolution order means it will call only either A or B. That's all. If it found in A, it will stop there. Even in the third multi-level also we have seen like that only, right?
Yes.
Understood the difference between these two? Why in this example it is replaced with Richard? Because it is not a method resolution. It is simply updating the name variable with another value. If there is any super like this here, then method resolution will come into existence. Then it will see if there is any one name attribute here. That's all. It will fill the name attribute as John. It will not go to, even though it has to go to this here. It will not go to update the value of Richard in the output. Suppose if there is a ID is here, self dot ID equal to 100. Okay, here also there is one self dot ID and self dot name. Here also self dot ID and self dot name. As per the method resolution order, since we are using super method, as per the method resolution order, it will go and update the name and ID only here once. That's all. Even though in the second case there is one name and ID, it will not update those values. It will not go and check again name and ID. Okay, once it has found, it will stop updating the values of name and age, right? You understood the difference between the super method and calling the init method using the parent class name, right?
Yes.
If you have any problem, you please check once again, and then if you still have doubts, tomorrow you can ask me again. Okay? Why is that
Okay.
difference happening in Richard? Why it is not updating in the super method, and why it is updated when we call with the parent class names? So multiple inheritance, you please check once again if we have any more examples also. If any doubts are there, you can ask me tomorrow also. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll close the session tomorrow. For now, tomorrow we'll see the hybrid inheritance. Okay?
Okay.